Well, one of the joys in getting to work with helping men with recovery is I also get to rub shoulders with other great coaches and other people who lead ministries. Really, I love the idea of having a abundance mentality. It's not a zero-sum game. There's lots of guys out there struggling. So I just connected with Jonathan Daugherty, and over on Pure Sex Radio today, a podcast came out with me and Jonathan talking about edging. So you can hop over to Pure Sex Radio and listen to an interview I did over there. And then today, I get the privilege of introducing, once again, Nate Larken from the Pirate Monk podcast. And we talk a lot about what recovery looks like. We talk about his journey in recovery. We talk about recovering from relapses, and also a little bit more about the Samson societies. So towards working together, welcome aboard. It's great to have you on the Finding Traction podcast.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, welcome back to the podcast. Let me say it's great to have you here. If you're new to the podcast, I would love it if you would either leave a review or pass it on to a friend. If you're looking for some great recovery resources, I really would encourage you to sign up for my Circle Learning platform. It's completely free, and on there, there's a whole bunch of different worksheets, handouts, things that can help you on your recovery journey. In addition, there's information there about the Finding Traction course. That is a 52-week, 1-year video course that is like 20-minute videos with worksheets that you can do on your own. Even better, maybe you can do that with a recovery buddy of yours. And even better than that, work with a group of guys. And we're always starting new Finding Traction groups. And if you were looking to join a Finding Traction group, or you just want to connect with me about your recovery journey, I really want to encourage you to get a chance to reach out to me. And we'll do a free Zoom call, and you can tell me a little bit more about your journey, and we'll look at ways at getting you started. My email is bandofbrothers.care@gmail.com. Well, without further ado, here is my interview with Nate Larken from the Pirate Monk podcast and the Samson societies. Well, today I am excited to have Nate Larken on the podcast. Nate is one of the forerunners of the whole porn addiction field. I know there was people before him, but certainly there's been many, many people after you, Nate. So welcome to Finding Traction.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here, Vern. And I'm proud to be one of the old guard.
Yeah.
Although I got to tell you, I'm feeling my age. I feel like I lose a few marbles every day.
I swear today I was out in my shop and I said, my hips and back feel like I'm 100 years old. And so I have groups of young guys and old guys. And most of my old guys groups, we spend most of the time talking about our health. So in our check-ins, right? So
yeah, sure. I get it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I remember reading your book, Samson and the Pirate Monks, years ago. Mm-hmm. What year did that
That came out in 2007. So it was 18 years ago that
18 years.
Yeah,
My goodness. Yeah, that was such a great book. And I remember you have an amazing ability to tell stories that really hit you. You're enjoying the story, and all of a sudden you get smacked between the eyes. So
yeah. I'm finally working on another book. I'm writing about my marriage, about Allie and me. So many of the guys in Samson, so many of the tens and thousands of guys that we've interacted with over the years are married guys, absolutely love their wives. There's no question about that. And just dismayed about their addiction And if we can give them some guidance and some hope, them
Hmm.
and their wives, for kind of navigating recovery, then that's something we want to do, even if it's our last act.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I one of the reasons I wanted to have you on was you are the founder of Samson Society, which is
Mhm.
a whole network of men around many countries, not just the US. I saw in one of your recent ones, you were up hanging out with our Canadian brothers on the east side
Yeah.
of
Oh,
the
yeah,
world.
yeah, yeah. I had a
Yeah.
great time in Ontario, a great Canadian retreat. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we generally don't say a lot of good things about Ontario, except from the West Coast, except when the Blue Jays are playing well. Then we swallow our pride and we become Blue Jays fans.
Okay, that's good. I get it. I get it. Yeah.
We can be as petty as anybody else. So as part of that. So want you to describe a little bit to me about the Samson Society. Really, what was the whole idea behind it? What was your vision, and really, what was the need that you didn't see being met that really got
Yeah. Yeah.
propelled you to start these societies?
Yeah. Well, I was, pushed into recovery by my wife. Actually, she didn't. She gave me an ultimatum.
Mhm.
Even more than that, when she discovered
Right.
my addiction and she found out that I had been gaslighting her for 20 years, she
Mhm.
said, "I'm done." She
Yep.
said, "I don't love you. I still love you, but I don't like you. I don't trust you. I don't respect you. And I don't think you can ever change." That
Mhm.
gave me the gift of desperation, gave me the
Mhm.
motivation I needed to go for help. And as it turns out, this was in 1998. The first help I found was in a 12-step group for sex
Okay.
addicts.
Yep.
Wasn't a Christian group, but it met in the basement of a church in the middle of the week while all the good people were gone.
Hmm.
And the amazing thing is, Vern, that even though we didn't say the name of Jesus, there was no sermon, we didn't read the Bible, we didn't sing, somehow in that room, in a, first of all, I had never in my life been in a room that safe.
Mm.
Never before been in a room where it was completely safe for me to bring my real self and say the real truth. And and I got the sense early on that Jesus was there. That
Mm.
my time in that room not only saved my life and saved my marriage, it saved me spiritually because there, surrounded by other broken people who were trusting in a higher power, I met God in a whole new way. He got a whole lot bigger. He got a whole lot closer. He got a whole lot kinder. And then I
Mm.
found myself saying what I've heard so many guys say in the years since: why can't church be more like this?
Mm.
Uh, and as I gave my number to my pastor, said, pass it along to a few years in, 6 years
Yeah.
in, I was
Sure.
ready to help some other people. And as I began to walk with other Christian guys, and as we're just doing what the Bible says, as we're walking in the light as He is in the light, as we're confessing our faults to one another and praying for one another, we start to experience the healing that Jesus promises. And
Mm.
that's when we really wanted to be able. I was operating from a 12-step structure back then,
Yep.
but all of us really wanted to be able to integrate our Christian faith, our Christian vocabulary, our whole Christian heritage explicitly into this experience. And that's
Right.
why we started the Samson Society as an explicitly Christian group, not a
Okay.
12-step group, but we
Yep.
borrowed some of their practices and
Sure.
principles. And it's not just for porn and sex addicts, it's for Christian guys who are battling any kind of unwanted behavior.
Okay. Now I know I remember listening to one of your podcasts, and you have described yourself in different ways over
Yeah.
the years, I think. I mean, there was original, you described yourself as a sex addict, then
Yeah.
a porn addict, and somewhere I thought you even used the survivor word. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you describe yourself these days to somebody?
Yeah. Well, I want to live more and more out of my true identity as a
Okay.
restored son of the sovereign Lord.
Okay.
Uh, but my patterns of behavior, my disordered patterns of thinking and feeling and behavior don't define me.
Hmm.
Yes, I deal with uh, impulses that I don't like,
Hmm.
uh,
Right.
uh, you know, feelings that I don't understand. I still am prone, especially if I'm not in the company of others, and if I'm not walking in the light, of making stupid decisions.
Hmm.
Um, at times, I'll tell you what, I'm a Christian who deals, who is healing and recovering from a sexual addiction. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Probably the closest place you
Yeah,
land. And
yeah,
because you're trying to communicate there is a settled identity that doesn't define your future as a child of God.
right.
Yet you're not trying to bring in the perfectionist kind
No.
of over, whatever it is, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm not a
That
former sex addict, Vern.
Yeah. No, I'm tracking with you.
Yeah,
So, okay, well let me open this can of worms then because you described that you use that phrase, why can't church be more like this? I mean,
yeah.
as a 30-year pastor, I'm now don't do it every week. I
Hmm.
just do it once every 4 weeks or 6 weeks I speak, pass the church on. But I am aware that there is in communicating, talking with church people in churches in many ways, there still is a gap from maybe what you
Yeah,
experience in your Samson groups, what I
yeah,
experience in our Finding Traction groups.
yeah, yeah,
There still seems to be a gap that is hard to gulf, hard to
yeah, yeah,
bridge.
yeah, yeah.
And do you see that still very much the case? Do you think that those two sides are getting closer together, or what's your take on it?
Well, I do think that it's dawning more and more on the leaders of the church that we're in the middle of a tsunami
Right.
of
Yep.
sexual sin, right?
Hmm.
Driven
Sure.
largely by the internet. It's
Yep.
hard to ignore. There isn't a family out there that isn't affected in some way.
Hmm.
So we have to talk about it, but I don't think we're any less reluctant to talk about it. We're just being forced to do it. Um, and I think that here's what I know. We have a newcomer meeting for our virtual meetings
Hmm.
every day on the Samson Society site, at
Okay.
least one.
Yep.
So I meet new guys, and I do two of those meetings a week.
Right.
Here's what I've noticed. The guys who show up at the meeting are the guys who have hit the wall hard,
Mm. Okay.
right? Something happened that
Right.
broke them out of that denial trance that they were operating in. It takes a lot of denial to continue to behave in these insane ways, but we're very good at it.
Right.
And our ancient enemy is encouraging that. He's always lying to us.
Yep.
But 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 and I remember early on my first sponsor saying, Nate, never trust a man who has not had a bone snapping, a head snapping, bone charring collision with his own depravity, right?
Mm.
So at some point, now here's what I notice. If a guy has just hit the wall, he's
Right.
just gotten the ultimatum from his wife, or he's
Yep.
just lost his job, or he just got arrested, or he
Hmm.
just got diagnosed with an STD or something.
Sure.
If he signs up for the meeting that happens that day or the next day, it's almost a guarantee he's going to be there. But if he signs up for the meeting that's 2 days away, the odds that he's going to make it decline. If he just if he signs up for the meeting that's a week from now, the odds that he's actually going to make to that meeting are pretty slim because by then he's able to kind of rebuild that denial wall and convince himself that it's not that bad. He really does. He can figure this out. He doesn't need to tell anybody.
It you are talking about one of the male wonders of the world.
Yeah.
It is our ability, to in such short order forget,
Oh, yeah.
deny. I mean, Nate, I can't tell you how many people email me and go, I need to talk to you now. I need to get into a group.
Yeah.
And I do my very best to talk to them that day or the next day.
Sure. Yeah.
But if something happens and it's 2, 3, 4 days,
Yeah.
let's say their schedule doesn't allow it, and all
Yeah.
of a sudden, then they'll ghost me because
Yeah.
then they'll say, okay, let's try Wednesday at 6,
Yeah. Yeah.
crickets. And you're going,
Yeah.
whoa, what happened between
Yeah.
Monday and Wednesday
Yeah.
when your life, it is truly an amazing ability we have because we know that, man, I don't know, really want to walk up this steep mountain.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I'm hoping that things are better
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
part of that. Well, let me ask you this, Jen. Let's take a typical Samson group, and I know you have newcomers groups, and then you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
groups that last longer. Our groups go for pretty much a year. Tell
Yeah.
me, tell me what is a description of a group that is working and acting like you hope for,
Yeah.
recognizing that both the group leaders and the people in them are imperfect people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
throwing that out, but
Yeah.
tell me what is, hitting it out of the park
Yeah.
when it comes down to a group that's really acting like what you hope for.
Well, to me, the sign of a healthy group is what happens actually between the meetings.
Okay.
I'm convinced Christianity is a team sport, not an individual
Hmm.
event, right? So, and this recovery thing is a day-to-day thing. So, if if there is vulnerability in the meeting, and so then that takes the courage and probably some experience,
Hmm.
some humility from some veteran guys
Yep.
to go deep early, be very vulnerable, to make it safe for other people to get honest. And guys begin to trust each other and tell the truth. A bond forms.
Hmm.
Um, now, in Samson, we place a lot of emphasis on what we call the Silas relationship. This is the guy. There should be at least one guy. We call him a Silas, who you are in daily contact with
Hmm.
between the meetings.
Right.
And I tell guys, look, just the act of calling that guy, emailing that guy, sending him a message is a spiritual act. It's an admission, I can't do this on my own.
Hmm.
And it's a mutually beneficial relationship. We're always helped by helpings. On any given day, every Christian needs help. Every Christian has some help to give. So, what we enter into is collaborative living between the meetings. So, we have a great meeting, and in Samson, especially early on, we have rules against no crosstalk. We have some things that we read every time to remind ourselves of what we believe, what we do, and what
Right.
the rules are, to try to keep it from drifting. I will find that groups that step away from the structure, especially if they're young groups, they will tend to drift into the shallows and then
Hmm.
eventually disband.
Okay.
But it takes some structure to stay online. But the really healthy groups are the groups where the guys are connecting between the meetings.
Right.
And then if that group has an annual retreat that they organize and they go off together and tell each other stories, man, that's that. Now we're really getting healthy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of our groups. Well, I kind of put the invitation out to a few groups. We had about seven of us met near Reno and spent a
Uh-huh.
weekend together. Had a wonderful
Awesome.
time. Didn't gamble at all. I mean, well, one guy did, but we had.
Yeah.
But it was so great to see guys you'd spend a whole year with, and then in person, and it
Yeah.
was such a wonderful experience. But I love that it's not just the group time. It really is that daily connection that's
Right.
happening as part of that. That is huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's the secret sauce to Samson.
so what do you do? One of the most helpful things I ever heard was a we have a local recovery house, and I was volunteering there. It was mostly drugs and alcohol.
Hmm.
And I sat down with the leader. I mean, he was a brilliant guy, PhD in counseling. And I said to him, "So how long does it take these guys to really, get clean and all that?
Yeah.
And if you get them to treatment, is it then better?" He said, "Vern, you know what?" He said, I have backed way off of my expectation. I have come to see guys going 4 and 5 times to treatment
Yeah.
before the penny drops or
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
some of those things happen. And it really changed
Yeah.
my perspective to how challenging it is and how
Yeah.
necessary community is
Yeah.
to walk away from a lifelong embedded habit,
Yeah.
such as
Yeah.
porn or sex addiction.
Oh,
So
sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
tell me then, I just did a podcast. I called it Relapse, Ripples, and Resets. And it was all about how we regain equilibrium after a relapse. So a guy comes to your group
Right.
and he's fallen off the wagon,
Right.
whatever that is. Let's say he's had some considerable clean time,
Yeah.
but now it was like a series of events happened. Once it's been 3 steps forward, four
Yeah.
steps forward, but now it was definite step backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How does that play out? Because and here's one of the ways I know it's a good group. The guys don't ghost the group when
Yeah,
that happens. That's the first place they want to be. Then you're hitting something, right?
that's it. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so tell me, talk to me about how that plays out in a group.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the rare man who never slips after his first meeting.
Hmm.
Yeah, relapse, setbacks. It's a part of
Sure.
recovery.
Yep.
This is the process begins with repentance, but following repentance, there's healing
Hmm.
and there's learning, relearning. The truth is that a lot of our addictive behavior was so habituated that it became automated. We do it even
Right.
without thinking. These impulses now are just kind of encoded. And I know this from bitter experience. It doesn't matter how far down the road of recovery I go,
Hmm.
I'm always the same distance from the ditch. And if
Absolutely.
something hits me sideways,
Yep.
and especially, and here is the special danger faced by guys like you and me who
Yep.
find ourselves in leadership.
Hmm.
uh, we can start to imagine now that we are kind of a step above, that we're starting to get bulletproof, and that we have this obligation to pretend that we have it more together than we do. Because somehow, if we show our slips, other people will become discouraged. They'll lose faith in the process. I fell victim to that thinking myself
Right.
when I had a relapse
Hmm.
a couple of years ago. And it took some time and it took some help and a couple of kicks in the butt from good friends for me
Yep.
to realize how crazy I was being. And here's the nutty thing. When I got when I started talking about my relapse, it didn't discourage people.
Hmm. Which is probably what you anticipated,
That's what
and
I
and
thought.
and what
Yeah.
was going on in that voice in your mind. That's why I
Yeah.
can't tell them.
No,
Yes.
it sent a signal to guys I'd been walking with that we can talk about everything. We can talk about our failures, and nobody is responsible for carrying anybody else.
Yeah.
We're in this together. My relationships deepened.
Hmm.
Looking back on it, I now think I needed that relapse because I was getting way too big for my britches.
Hmm.
And I was really starting to think that I was super Nate,
Right.
right? I needed a dose of humility. I needed to go back. And actually, it gave me the impetus to do something I'd never done before, Vern. More than 25 years in recovery, I finally went to treatment.
Hmm. Okay.
Uh, and I went to actually, yeah, and it was so helpful to me.
Hmm.
I wasn't able to do that early in
Yep.
recovery. The treatment wasn't there, and if it was, I didn't have the money for it or the time.
Right.
Now, thank God, I was able to do it. It was such a good experience.
Well, that concept of self-importance, it's like we believe that, it's like we create the verse. There is one mediator between God and recovery, and that is Vern Tomke or Nate Larkin or
Right?
whatever, right? I
Yeah,
am
yeah,
the mediator that recovery rises and falls on
yeah, yeah,
me.
yeah. I was foolish enough to actually believe that, man. I got so grandiose. Yeah,
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
carrying the Samson Society.
Yeah.
That's baloney.
Well, we actually, I was had a great talk with my good friend, Mr. Dobschutz, and we were talking
Oh
about
yeah,
just, the idea of redoubling our checking things in with each other
yeah,
simply because of it, in one sense, there is a lot that's leveraged through us for whatever, that's just
yeah, yeah.
leadership.
Sure.
Leadership is influence, and
Yeah,
you got to
right.
recognize that. But it
Yeah,
also, you recognize you are a target, and this is
yeah,
part of how it plays out. You used a couple words in one of your recent podcasts, and you talked about the difference between a slip and a
yeah,
slide.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd love to get your distinction. I really found that was a interesting use of words.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think we all, we have a misstep. Slips are, I mean, we just don't do it perfectly.
Hmm.
So it doesn't mean I go over the edge necessarily. It doesn't mean that I go
Right,
all the way to porn, but a slip for
right.
me can be, chasing a Facebook profile or an
Mhm.
Instagram profile that I don't need to be looking at
Right.
and be
A shiny
lingering long.
object.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Um, and there are some other things that I know they're not acting out, but they're gateways to acting
Mhm.
out.
Absolutely.
Okay. But when I start habitually to doing that, and I know, and then it takes me over the edge, and I now know I'm not immune to
Hmm. Yep.
that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, what I should have done, looking back, I talked about this on the podcast. I didn't believe at that point. I didn't even believe my own rhetoric. I thought Samson is safe for everybody but me,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
I had plenty of men I could have told the minute I went over the edge.
Yep.
I could have told my wife,
Hmm.
but I didn't believe I could. I thought they were too fragile. They wouldn't be able to handle it. It would somehow destroy it. And so I frantically tried to fix it myself.
Hmm.
And I wasted valuable time, months and months doing that. And that's when the slip became a slide.
Right. And there's 10 good reasons why we don't want to tell our wives, tell those closest friends to,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
despite the fact that they have, in one sense, proven themselves faithful
Yeah.
and journeyed with us,
Yes.
we still have that belief that we're indispensable, or they're too
Yeah.
fragile,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they might get angry at us. Oh my goodness, heaven help us if somebody gets angry at us,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as part of that, so when you model that, you see, how do you see guys responding in terms of guys that are struggling to find
Yeah.
their way forward? Like
Yeah.
I imagine in the same way with our groups, you have some guys that maybe they've been in a group or two before, and the penny drops a lot quicker in their
Yeah.
recovery,
Yeah.
right? And very early on, they're getting, weeks, if not months of sobriety. But then
Yeah.
you've got somebody that is doing their darndest to try to apply it, and they're barely getting 3 days
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
or a week,
Yeah.
and they're hearing the other guys talking about months. Uh,
Yeah.
those are, what would you say to that guy that's going, man, I'm just trying to find a week.
Yeah. 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 I think we always have to keep the perspective that we're only sober a day at a time.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons, it's one of the changes we made when I started the Samson Society. It was a differentiation from 12-step recovery. I was used to checking in
Hmm.
with naming my addiction and then telling my length of sobriety.
Right.
And then we'd even reinforce that with chips.
Hmm.
We decided in Samson not to do the chip system
Hmm.
because for me, I remember the first time I got heavy metal. It's what they call it. You get your first 1 year chip.
Okay.
Oh, man. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
And I really felt like I'd arrived. I got a year, right?
Right.
And it wasn't a week later, I was back in the soup.
Right.
But then I was too ashamed. I would have to turn that in and pick up another desire chip and start from zero. And I
Right.
just couldn't freaking do that. So I faked it for a
Yeah.
while, right?
Right. Yeah.
I'm so competitive anyway. I
Right.
want to be top of the pile,
I still
right?
know, yeah, and I'm that way too. I still know my best time on my 10K run, and I
Yeah,
always
yeah,
want, yeah, that
yeah,
that
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing. And the longer we're sober, the
yeah,
the more we have invested to fudge things.
yeah, yeah,
It's kind of simple. Did I drink or not?
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, right, yeah,
unless somebody slipped something in the punch bowl,
yeah,
it's like, did I drink or
yeah,
not? But did I etch? Did
yeah,
I did
yeah,
I use Instagram or Facebook and went,
yeah,
well, how does that fit? Like there's so many subtleties. Just practically, this area is so prone to deception and denial,
yeah, yeah.
and blurring the lines, that let alone our ability to want to present ourselves as successful.
Right, right. And I think there's also a danger in only counting one thing. We're only keeping score with our sexual behavior.
Right.
It's possible to become a Pharisee and stay right between the lines
Right.
sexually,
Yeah.
right? And be absolutely destructive to self and others.
Right.
A workaholic will destroy himself and
Hmm.
his family every bit as effectively and efficiently
Sure.
as a sexaholic will. But
Yeah.
we'll pat him on the back and put him on the board.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to give, and without keeping score, we need to be able to give an honest account of ourselves
Hmm.
to God and to our brothers. We need to walk in the light and trust all along that my performance, I'm not being judged on the basis of my performance. I'm being judged on the basis of Christ's performance. This
Hmm.
is all grace. And healing is mine if I will have enough faith in his grace to move toward it and experience the love that comes from his family.
Hmm. Well, again, I am just so grateful. I do have different guys that check into various meetings. They find
Yeah,
it's crucial to do that. I want to ask you, Nate, we're all getting older and we've been at this
yeah,
for a while. How would you like guys to remember you? The role you've played,
yeah.
the legacy, how would you want to be remembered in this journey of recovery and leading Samson Society?
I hope, I hope that I can be remembered as a flawed and broken man who learned to trust the grace of God.
Hmm. I love it. Nate, it's been great. Thanks for freeing up your time to come
Oh, it's
on
been a
the
joy.
pod. Thank you again. God bless.